And in fact, putting it a bit more strongly, I'm not at all sure how far you can really do justice to the fundamental constitutive context sensitivity of social life just with content analysis of interviews or statistical analysis of questionnaires. Not that I think content and statistical analysis ought to be jettisoned. They're obviously an extremely important part of our efforts to understand the social world and vital to any analysis of, for example, social class. But when we're looking at social life, there are good reasons for varying the magnification of the lenses that we're using. And if you're doing a PhD, for example, maybe it really wouldn't take a major reorientation of the whole endeavour if you were to have just one chapter looking at the details. The thing about the methods we'll be doing this afternoon, or after this, is that unlike the situation with things like systemic functional grammar, for example, unlike that, you don't have to spend months, 6 months, learning a whole elaborate system before you can start generating plausible and interesting interpretations. What really matters in the approach that we'll be talking about is the analytic mentality and the kinds of rhythms of analysis pioneered in conversation analysis. Indeed, if you engage with the kinds of analysis we're talking about, you may discover that you really don't need 1,000 cases before you can start making credible claims about anything. You really can go a very long way with just 1 or 2 instances. Similarly, you may discover there's lots you can recover from an experiment that you thought you'd botched. And maybe at a more philosophical level, there's some kind of ontological reorientation in the kinds of analysis that this workshop is proposing. What we're proposing is a view of how things come together in the lived moment. And I'd argue that even if we're working on meso or macro scale phenomena, these glimpses into the extraordinary subtlety of lived experience are an enhancement, tempering and strengthening our generalizations with a sharper view of what's left out. Okay, so is that a reasonable representation of? Does that lay out our stall? Okay, and from here we're going to allow you to taste some of the goods. Okay, so that's my introduction input.
Thanks.